Hey, what's up, family? This is Jared Mitchell. Welcome to the Mitchell Experience. And as you can see in front of me, I've got a few True Wireless headphones. Just a couple. So I wanted to do something that I had a very difficult time finding. And that is I wanted to try to approach the True Wireless headphone arena from the average man perspective. If you guys are anything like me, you probably looked on Amazon, found a whole bunch of different options, checked on YouTube, saw the reviews, and happened to see that the same names kept coming up as the best True Wireless headphone. Now, it's very difficult to sift between the Amazon reviews because some of the best rated ones have low stars. Some of the ones that have high stars can't really be trusted. And so what better way to find out what's worth your time and your money than to test these things out yourself. Now, I want to put this disclaimer out there, all right? I'm not special. I'm your average guy. I work a job. I've got a family. So I'm not in a situation where I can just try out every single headphone that comes out there. But at the same time, you also don't want to waste your time and your money buying a whole bunch of cheap stuff throughout the year over and over. So this is how I approach this. I wanted to find something that was going to have the best ratio. The best sound quality, call quality, features, fit, and comfort to price. Sometimes to get all these things, you got to spend some money, but I wanted to see what was going to be the best bang for my buck in this regard. So, without further ado, this is what I have to compare. Starting here, we have the Taotronics TT-BH052s. We have the Rademax P10, we have the Dveda F8s, we have the Geekee G350s, we have the Jabra Elite 65Ts, we have the Gonovate Airos, I forgot what those were called for a second. I have the Anker Soundcore Liberty Airs, we have the Mavin Air-X's, and we have the Treblab X5s. Now, these vary in price point widely from what I was able to get them for between Amazon sales and available coupons and so on and so forth. A couple of these I paid full price for, but a couple of these I didn't. So the first thing I want to do is we want to eliminate some right off the bat and get some of these things out of here. And I'll tell you really briefly why we're eliminating what we're eliminating. So the first two that are going are the Taotronics TT-BH052s and the Rademax P10s. Now the reason we're getting out of these is these things are effectively the same thing, okay? You can look at the case, you can see that they're pretty much the same headphones. Now this one has a really cool looking, touch control on the top. I put the little sticker there because, as soon as I put them in my ear, I had a feeling I was gonna need those, so I saved them. Within the first minute of putting these things in there, I already knew these weren't going to stick with me because I couldn't get a good fit. And I tried all of the different ear gels. And what I did end up doing was I ended up buying some Comply ear tips, the memory foam ones, and I tried them on these. And while I was able to get them to fit, they hurt my ears pretty quickly. That and sound quality left a lot to be desired, and the touch controls on these were trash. It was utter garbage. They didn't work. If they did work, they were spotty. I had to hit this thing I don't know how many times just to get the volume to work or to play in the pause. Trash. So then I picked these guys up because I really like the idea of having a battery bank. You can see I did the same thing with these guys. Save the tape. Sometimes it's good to keep these things. Once I listen to a set of earphones for a couple of minutes and I have an idea whether or not I'm going to keep them, then I'll go ahead and get rid of that because I don't like looking at all the plastic and whatnot. But these were effectively the same thing. Couldn't get a seal, sound quality was trash, touch controls were spotty. And that's when, once again, I discovered these are pretty much the same thing. You look at the case is basically the same, right? All this information, all the markings are the same. These things are effectively the same thing, all right? This is drop shipping, badge engineering at its finest. Both of these are trash. Get these out of here, all right? So then the next ones that we're gonna get out of here really quickly are these guys here. Gonovate Airos, all right? Now, we're not getting rid of these for the reason that you think we're getting rid of these. These had good fit. These had, they were pretty comfortable. They were lightweight. If you look at these guys, these things are pretty small. You know, they got this little shark fin design. We got this little shark fin design that's pretty comfortable. Really no complaints in terms of the fit and how that piece is concerned. The reason why we're getting rid of these is because compared to these other ones that we have here, sound quality on these were really emphasizing the low end and the bass, not so much on the mids and the highs. So it sounded really muddy, really bass heavy if you like that sort of thing. But as you know, as a person who is a really big fan of music and a former musician myself, I really like to have a good balance. I'm big on bass. I do want a good bass response, but you know, these things just didn't have a good enough balance in my book. The next ones that we're getting rid of right off the bat, y'all are gonna be surprised. These guys right here, the Anker Soundcore Liberty Airs. I wanted to love these things so badly. I did. I wanted to love these things so badly because they look good. You know, they're a decent AirPod competitor. Call quality on these things were decent. It was a little airy, but you know, decent for the price point. They felt good. You know, these things had a really good fit to them until I went to the gym. Once I went to the gym and my ears started warming up, nothing that I could do to get there was nothing I could do to get these things to stay in my ear. Nothing. I tried. I got to the biggest ear tips, and the way these ear tips are made, these things are so incredibly flexible that they get really slippery, right? So the bigger problem with that was, like I mentioned earlier, I also have some Comply ear tips. Well, once I put the Comply ear tips on these things, they'll stay in my ear better, but then I can't fit them in the charging case. And one thing that I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna carry around a secondary baggie or something just to put my ear tips in and have to change these things every once in a while. These things can't fit in the case with the extra ear tips, or the ear tips that come with them won't fit in my ear. What's the point? These things didn't work for me in that respect. So these things were going away. And so the last but not least to round out that we're getting rid of, probably saw this one coming, the Geekee G350s. We're not getting rid of these for what you probably think we're getting rid of these for. It's not fit, it's not sound quality, it's not battery life. The reason we're getting rid of these is two things. One, connectivity, and B, there was just another option better for the price. And that's really what it came down to. These things were a good middle of the road option. These things have these little wingtips. These are really close to being the most comfortable ones that I've gotten so far out of all of these. And these are among the least expensive ones that I got. I got these on an Amazon special where these are normally $50 and they were doing a $20 off coupon at the time. So I ended up only spending $30 for these. And I was actually very surprised with the way they fit and with the way they sound. I actually had no complaints about these, and I wanted to keep these, I wanted to love these, but the thing that I did find almost immediately is that connectivity with these were a challenge. And the left earbud would cut out on me quite a bit, and that became a problem. So these are gone, which leaves me with, these are the final four, okay? Now I'm gonna be upfront and honest with you and tell you that the Jabra Elite 65Ts have come in with the handicap. And the reason they came in with the handicap is because these are by far the most expensive. So, you know, I feel that in that price point, for the amount of money that these things and AirPods cost, that they need to be damn near flawless. And so far, these are pretty good. I mean, they're you know, I don't really have anything to complain about. The controls are good. The features on the app are good. The fit on them are good. You know, overall, they're not the most comfortable. They're not the most comfortable. They don't have the best sound quality. Speaker, you know, and mic quality is decent. But the thing that I found was that when it came to mic quality, surprisingly enough, these guys were comparable. These were a set that I spent $46 on Amazon. These have very decent mic quality. These have very decent fit. And on these, as you can see, I have the Comply ear tips. They're, you know, they got a little bit of use out of them. But once I put those ear tips, the ear tips that came with these things were trash. Let me tell you that right out the bat. But once I put the Comply ear tips on these things are lovely. They don't, however, have the hear-through feature that these guys do. They don't have any EQ balance. But even with that, the sound quality on these little $46 ear tips were decent. So the handicap is, if I can get, we'll say 80% of what I'm getting out of these guys for $46, is it worth me spending 3 times as much on these? And so far the answer to that is no. Now, these aren't out of the running yet. Another one that I heard a lot about with these guys right here, the Treblab X5. Now I can tell you right off the bat, these things confuse me, because when I initially put them in, I was confused as to why they weren't already turned on, because all the other ones that I have, they automatically turn on. These don't. These, when you take them out of your ear or you take them out of the case, you immediately have to power them on, and then you have to get the fit in. You have to power each one on individually. They will, however, turn off once you put them back in the case. So that part is cool, but you do initially have to pair them on, and you know, that's a minor inconvenience, but you know, it's an inconvenience nonetheless. These actually surprised me with how well they fit, and they really surprised me with how loud they get, until I got these little guys right here. Okay, now these little guys were an untested brand. The most reviews I can find on these were about 15 reviews. These things were said to have the new Qualcomm chip that was just announced apparently at CES, that's supposed to give you 100 feet of range and, you know, the best connectivity. I haven't really been in a scenario to try that out. That still doesn't work in between walls. So, you know, when I go upstairs, the walls and the floor do still cause cutouts. So that part isn't immune. But the thing that I love about these guys is that they are comfortable. These are the most comfortable ones that I have out of all of them. Followed very closely by these guys here. These are very close number 2. But these guys are the most comfortable. They are the most lightweight. They are beautiful. They are my favorite color in blue. And these things sound incredible. They sound amazing. These things give these Treblabs a run for their money. Now, I can't really tell. I'm leaning toward these guys being louder, but I can't say that definitively for sure. I can absolutely say that it's definitely these two, right? And if you're going for quality, sound quality as your number one, then, you know, particularly for the price that these are, you really can't argue. You can't argue. These were $80 and these were $140. You know, I like the fact that, you know, these things have a whole bunch of different gel skins that you can add to make your fit a little bit better. And, you know, come different sizes of these. This part, you know, this part is really where your seal is going to be concerned. When I first got these, I left the medium fits on. And then, you know, I noticed that they were kind of, as I was doing my shake test, they were starting to shake loose, and the fit was kind of coming out a little bit. But as soon as I switched to the large ones, boy, that sound quality changed dramatically. I mean, I'm talking the bass on these things got to be crazy. I love these for that. Battery life is supposed to be really good on these as well. 10 hours. I'm not gonna keep any earbud in my ears for 10 hours. I just, you know, the way I work, I gotta take phone calls, I gotta interact with people. I'm just not in a position to be able to do that. But so far, these things are amazing. And then these things are good. These things, I have to admit, are some really good all around, and I understand why they get such glowing recommendations on pretty much every site. I get it, because they are the most feature-rich, most versatile set of earbuds out of all of them. These are the only ones that give you the hear-through feature, which, while it's not perfect, is still pretty good overall. These are the only ones that will give you the soundscapes, which gives you, you know, like white noise, like rain or thunderstorms or caverns or, you know, anything like that to just kind of drown out, you know, the noise so that you can focus. These are the only ones that, you know, connect via an app that I have. I know there are other ones that do that. So these things give you, you know, firmware updates so that you can stay up to date. These are the only ones that I have that have, you know, the pause feature when you take them out, and that's based on proximity. So, you know, it's not based on an infrared like the AirPods are. My wife has the AirPods, so I can compare those. But these are based on proximity. So as soon as you bring it closer back to your ear, they'll kick back in. But, you know, these really, there's a couple things about them that really kind of get me. And thing one, this is going to sound like I'm nitpicking, but the fact that these things don't have a magnet in the case is annoying as hell to me. You know, like at this price point, all these other ones, with the exception of these, this one has a magnet. These guys are $46, right? And even once I push them in with the air tips or the Comply ear tips, they're still in there with the magnet. They're not coming out, right? But these guys, at $155, almost $160, most places I see these things are $160. You tip these out and immediately they're falling out, right? I'm not okay with that, right? That's a problem. It's a nitpicky thing. But like I said, when you're talking about at this price point, you just shouldn't have to make those types of compromises. You just shouldn't. You know, I know my hands look ashy. Look, you shouldn't have to make those type of compromises. You shouldn't have to settle, you know, for mediocre case design when you've got, you know, even these guys at $140. These things sound incredible. Now, I will say this. These are definitely the most well-rounded. Microphone on these are good. Sound quality on these are good. Noise cancellation on these are good. Battery life on these are good. Features are good. Can't complain about any of that. But you have to ask yourself whether or not all of those things are worth you spending $150, $160. Not when you can get, you know, these that have excellent fit. They are lightweight, super lightweight, excellent battery life. So they say. Well, these things claim to have, you know, 50 hours. Now, I can see that based on how heavy this case is because these things are featherweight, but the case has got a little bit of heft to it. So, you know, take all of those things into account, the most important to you. But I will tell you, you know, at this point, at this stage, all of those that I named earlier, those are going back. They're going back. Sorry, Amazon, those bad boys are coming back to you. I'm probably gonna get banned from returns for the next year based on that. But, you know, I can tell you that when it comes to loudness and it comes to sound quality, these guys are a tie. When it comes to price for performance, these guys are really, really up there. I have no complaints about these. These guys have been really great. They're not the most comfortable. They are not the best sound, but you consider these things are under $50. You cannot complain. And these guys are the most well-rounded. They are not the best fit. They are not the best sounding, but these things are just good all around. They're good all around. So in that respect, you know, I really can't get you any complaints about them. You know, there will be an update and I'll update, you know, where we are as far as how these things really fit in the gym. I can tell you these things have fared really, really well for me in the gym and they're IPX6 rated. So I'm really happy about that. I know that these guys are gonna fit in the gym just based on that ear hook. You know, these things are gonna be really well in the gym. My concern here is that these are, you know, these are Bluetooth 4.2 and all the rest of these are Bluetooth 5.0. So, you know, all of that being said, you know, I just wanted to give a little bit of guidance and help you guys out. I know this ended up being a long video and I ranted a bit, but truth of the matter is, listen, miss the vast majority of those Amazon brands. I mean, every so often you'll get a diamond in the rough like these guys here, but the truth of the matter is most of them are trash. Most of them are trash. So you just have to weigh, you know, are you willing to spend a little bit more money? You're willing to go above that $50 price point because things change once you get above that $50 price point. So all that being said, I hope this was helpful. These things are amazing for what they are. These things are really, really good. I'm really, really happy with these. I don't know that they're worth $140. I know regular price is $180. I for damn sure would not pay that much for it. These things are cool. I like these. I'm not counting these out. I'm not telling you not to buy them. I'm not. I like these things. I really do. They're just, you know, they're a little pricey. I mean, these two are not far from each other. And when it came down to it, I will say I love the sound on these a whole lot better. I love the fit on these a whole lot better. But I love the call quality and the hear-through feature on these a whole lot better. The question is, which features are you going to use more? You know, make the decision based on that. But initially, you know, before these other ones came into the picture, these were going to be the guys I kept. The case is a little weird, right? I mean, it's like you just got that little LED as your indicator. I don't really care for the look of them. You know, I think they look cheap, they look weird, but nonetheless, I was actually very pleasantly surprised with these. So all that being said, you know, if I had to round it out to my final four, you know, at this point it's very hard for me to pick a champion, but as far as my final four is concerned, these guys here, the Jabra Elite 65T, the Mavin Air-X, the Treblab X5s, and the Dveda F8s, these are my final four out of the 9 or 10 that I had to start with. So I hope that helps. I'll see y'all on the flip. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I'll holla. Peace and love. Once again, this was the Mitchell Experience.